The First 100 Years project is an ambitious video history project charting the journey of women in law. That journey began in 1919 with the passage of a piece of legislation which allowed for women for the first time to become solicitors. I think it's always really essential to understand that as women, and indeed anybody in the profession, in law, they're standing on others' shoulders. People before us have paved the way. An example of a woman who really inspires me, and that's actually the first woman to become a solicitor in the UK. She was actually a graduate of Glasgow Law School, so we're obviously very proud here to have the very first female solicitor in the UK when she became the first Scottish solicitor in 1920. So Madge Easton Anderson studied for an MA and then an LLB at Glasgow University, and she started her studies of law before it was even possible to enter the profession. During her studies, she won a number of prizes, and she started her training with the law firm Maclay, Murray and Spence, which has recently been taken over by Dentons. So she was offered her training during the course of her degree, but she was challenged on the basis that actually she'd undertaken her training prior to the passage of the Act. So this woman who's, stood out, she's been out there pretty much on her own, and she's undertaken the training, and now the law says that she can, is now being told she can't because she's done the training. So she had to challenge that, and she did so successfully in the Court of Session. As well as being the first solicitor in the UK, she became the first woman in 1937 to become the first solicitor qualified both in Scotland and in England when she passed the examinations in England. Then in about the mid-1930s, she actually set up an all-women partnered law firm, which we believe to be the first of its kind in the UK. So in that sense, she was really quite a pioneer and quite inspirational. What I admire most about her is that she showed later on through her commitment to acting as a so-called poor man's lawyer, that she really wanted to use the law for good, to help other people, and indeed to help others who are perhaps most at need. So there was an organisation affiliated to the university that was called the University Settlement, the Queen Margaret University Settlement. At that time, the Queen Margaret Union was an all-female union. Through the University Settlement, the Poor Man's Lawyer project was set up. And so what she did on a monthly basis for, we think about a decade, that's what the records show, was that she, on a monthly basis, had a small office based out of Anderston in the south side of Glasgow, and she saw clients who otherwise wouldn't have had been able to access any kind of legal advice. So the fact that she did that as a woman for that period of time, I think, was really very inspiring. To celebrate the centenary of women in law, Glasgow Law School are doing some quite exciting things. First of all, we're going to hold an event, and we are going to hold that in April, and we're going to partner with the First 100 Years project and the Law Society of Scotland and Dentons, the law firm, remember, who gave Madge her traineeship. That event is going to be open to the profession in its widest sense, so thinking about the advocate profession, so the bar, the Scottish bar, solicitors, but also more widely to law students and legal academics. And what we really want to do is to remember to celebrate Madge Easton Anderson and to celebrate the contribution that she and other women have made in laying the foundation for us today in law. I would really like students to come along to the event and also to get involved in another aspect of the project that we're going to develop, which is an exhibition that we're calling 100 Voices. So we want the 100 Voices exhibition to reflect the voices of women who have a connection to Glasgow Law School. To find out more about First 100 Years, you can go to their website, which is first100years.org.uk. To find out a little bit more about what we are doing at Glasgow University, look out for emails and promotions through Glasgow University Law Society in the coming days and weeks, because I'd really like to get students along to the event on the 15th of April. One of the final things that I hope that students might get involved in is that that we're hoping to have an art competition, because we've managed to uncover the only known image of Madge Easton Anderson, which actually we've put up in a poster in Glasgow Law School, so some students will have already seen it. But we'd like to reimagine that image and perhaps make that image available in the university more widely, so that we can finally properly recognise the place of Madge Easton Anderson in the history of the legal profession in the UK.